on, good people? This is your boy Alberto, your host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show. Folks, today I bring you a potential target for the Atlanta Falcons in this up and coming free agency period. I know that the consolation prize for most, even including myself, Deron Payne. But let's look at some of those second and third tier guys that could potentially come in and help out immediately. Serve as a depth piece to the roster as well. And the player that I'm bringing today is Sheldon Rankins, former New Orleans Saints player, currently with the New York Jets. Signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Jets, so he's becoming a free agent now in the coming weeks, unless the Jets decide to re-sign him. But yes, Sheldon Rankins, drafted in the first round, 12th overall in the 2016 NFL draft. I look for Terry Fontenot to now start using some of that pipeline, so to say, of players he had connections with in the past, players that he had brought in to the New Orleans Saints organization, and Sheldon Rankins could be one of those top targets, or one of the targets overall. We all know that tier number one is Deron Payne, man, and he would be a impactful get for the Falcons if we go that route. But if we don't, and we decide to spread the money out evenly and search for those second tier, third tier players that can come in, still have an impact, but also serve as a depth piece to the clubhouse, then these are the guys that you may want to look at. So Sheldon Rankins, definitely when he was drafted out of Louisville, drafted as a defensive tackle, but he can also play defensive end, having played defensive end at Louisville. I know that injuries and of such have taken away from his game in some years, but the guy's still been he's still productive. Right now with the Jets, he currently has 3 sacks on the year. He plays on a very talented line over there with the Jets with Quinnen Williams and first round pick Jermaine Johnson to just to name a couple. But definitely in his younger years with the New Orleans Saints, this guy was hell on wheels, man. His most productive sack production year was in 2018, which he led the Saints with 8 sacks on the interior line, and that was his best statistical year. He kind of since then has slowed down in the sack production and stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier, the sack injuries have derailed some of his abilities and such, but he stayed steady in that 3 to 4 sack range, which still proves that he has that motor that New Orleans fell in love with early on and made him the 12th pick in the draft in 2016. I think pairing him with Grady Jarrett, can create a disruptive interior of the defense if the Atlanta Falcons choose to go back to a 4-3. There's much of that being tied to what Dean Pease is going to do at the end of the year. When the question was brought to him if he's going to come back, he kind of left it up in the air, so to say. But Sheldon Rankins does have the versatility to play, inside defensive tackle with Grady or outside at defensive end in a 3-4 scheme. So it's a player to just think about, Sheldon Rankins. Currently, he has 43 tackles combined and 3 sacks with the Jets. For his career, he has 190 tackles and 23 and a half sacks. So yeah, it's a name to look for. It's a name that could potentially end up here in Atlanta. Like I mentioned, Terry Fontenot knowing who Sheldon Rankins is as a man, as a player, so that he might want to bring that work ethic into Atlanta to pair with all the talent that's going to be incoming. So that's a name to watch out for. Sports Tracks currently projects him to have about $7.5 million deal annually. I think that him having a relationship in the past with Terry Fontenot, Terry could probably work the numbers to our favor. Maybe front load a contract or make it a incentive based contract for next year. He'll be 29 at the start of the season in 2023, so relatively still young. And yeah, so that's a name to watch out for, Sheldon Rankins. So if you guys, just drop those comments, let me know what you think. Sheldon Rankins, yay or nay for the Atlanta Falcons in 2023. This is your boy Alberto, your host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show. Folks, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Peace.